Are you tired of having to untangle your guitar lead every time you grab it out of your case? Are you constantly getting that popping and crackling sound every time you plug your guitar in? Or are you buying a couple leads every year because you keep breaking them? If any of that sounds familiar, you're probably rolling your guitar cables wrong. Now, I teach over 200 people in person every year at my Melbourne Guitar Academy studios, and something I see all the time with my beginner and even intermediate students is them rolling their leads incorrectly. Some people roll it around their arm and their elbow like this. Other people roll it around their wrist like this. Either way is going to result in lots of tangling. Once you put it in your bag, the little gremlins come out and tangle it up for you, or you damaging the end parts of your leads so that when you plug in, you get this popping and crackling sound. Fortunately, this is easily avoidable. Rolling your lead properly is one of those minor details that adds up to a big difference later on. If you roll your lead properly, it's not going to tangle every single time you put it in your bag or every time you go to unfold it and it loops around itself. It's also going to avoid you getting that crackly sound and having to jiggle it a few times to get it working every time you plug it in. You're also not going to be breaking as many cables, meaning you can buy one guitar lead and have it last 3 to 5 years, saving you a lot of money in the long run. So we've basically gone over what not to do, wrapping it around your hand or wrapping it around your arm. Or worst of all, just grabbing it like this and cramming it into your case, as I see a lot of junior students do. Instead, what you want to do is roll your guitar lead the same way a cowboy would roll a lasso. It's something I call the over-under technique. It's a bit tricky in the beginning, but once you get it, you'll never go back. So the first thing you're going to do is grab your guitar cable at one end and space it about shoulder length apart. What's going to happen is we're going to roll with one of our hands, the one not holding the end of the lead. We're going to pinch it and we are going to roll so that the lead twists. See, I'm doing that little pinching motion and rolling it. So I'm going to roll forwards away from myself. I roll and that causes a little loop to happen, and I bring my arm across and I make the first loop. So I've gone like that, and I can make that as big or as small as I want to. Then I stretch the same distance away, and now I'm going to roll the opposite direction. So instead of rolling forward, I'm going to roll backwards. And as I roll backwards, I bring that in and it loops under itself. It goes over, under, over, under. And if I do that properly, you can see how nice and concise that is becoming. I roll over, I roll under. I roll over, I roll under. And I've got one more over. And there you go. A nice little lead all wrapped up. That's not going to tangle. You're not going to damage the ends by bending them on sharp angles. You're going to get a couple of years out of this lead. Now, if you do that properly, you should be able to throw your lead out the same way a cowboy throws a lasso, and it's just going to roll out nice and neatly. There's going to be no tangles. There's going to be no damage. And this is going to save you lots of money in the long run because you'll get a couple of years out of each lead. Now, if you found that helpful, I invite you to subscribe to my mailing list where I've got a special 30 guitar tips in 30 days. Some of the best tips you've never heard of, all accessible in one place. And if you don't like it, just subscribe after the day number 1 or day number 5. What do you got to lose? I'll put the link to that in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.